All right, welcome everyone. Now I'll share my screen. Okay, we are on A Course in Miracles, chapter 31, section 2, Walking with Christ. An ancient lesson is not overcome by the opposing of the new and old. It is not vanquished that the truth be known, nor fought against to lose to truth's appeal. There is no battle that must be prepared, no time to be expended, and no plans that need be laid for bringing in the new. There is an ancient battle being waged against the truth, but truth does not respond. Who could be hurt in such a war unless he hurts himself? He has no enemy in truth, and can he be assailed by dreams? Let us review again what seems to stand between you and the truth of what you are. For there are steps in its relinquishment. The first is a decision that you make, but afterwards, the truth is given you. You would establish truth, and by your wish, you set two choices to be made each time you think you must decide on anything. Neither is true, nor are they different. Yet must we see them both before you can look past them to the one alternative that is a different choice. But not in dreams you made, that this might be obscured to you. What you would choose between is not a choice, and gives but the illusion it is free, for it will have an outcome either way. Thus is it really not a choice at all. The leader and the follower emerge as separate roles, each seeming to possess advantages you would not want to lose. So in their fusion, there appears to be the hope of satisfaction and of peace. You see yourself divided into both these roles, forever split between the two, and every friend or enemy becomes a means to help you save yourself from this. Perhaps you call it love. Perhaps you think that it is murder, justified at last. You hate the one you gave the leader's role when you would have it. And you hate as well his not assuming it. At times you want to let the follower in you arise and give away the role of leadership. And this is what you made your brother for. And learn to think that this his purpose is. Unless he serves it, he has not fulfilled the function that was given him by you, and thus he merits death, because he has no purpose and no usefulness to you. And what of him? What does he want of you? What could he want but what you want of him? Herein is life as easily as death. For what you choose as well for him. Two calls you make to him, as he to you. Between these two is choice, because from them there is a different outcome. If he be the leader or the follower, to you it matters not, for you have chosen death. But if he calls for death, or calls for life, for hate, or for forgiveness and for help, is not the same in outcome. Hear the one, and you are separate from him and are lost. But hear the other, and you join with him, and in your answer is salvation found. The voice you hear in him is but your own. What does he ask you for? And listen well, for he is asking what will come to you, because you see an image of yourself and hear your voice requesting what you want. Before you answer, pause to think of this. The answer that I give my brother is what I am asking for. And what I learn of him is what I learn about myself. Then let us wait an instant and be still, forgetting everything we thought we heard, remembering how much we do not know. This brother neither leads nor follows us, but walks beside us on the selfsame road. He is like us, as near or far away from what we want as we will let him be. We make no gains he does not make with us, and we fall back if he does not advance. Take not his hand in anger, but in love. For in his progress do you count your own, and we go separately along the way unless you keep him safely by your side. Because he is your equal in God's love, you will be saved from all appearances and answer to the Christ who calls to you. Be still and listen. Think not ancient thoughts. Forget the dismal lessons that you learned about this Son of God who calls to you. Christ calls to all with equal tenderness, seeing no leaders and no followers, and hearing but one answer to them all, because he hears one voice. He cannot hear a different answer from the one he gave when God appointed him his only Son. Be very still an instant. Come without all thought of what you ever learned before, and put aside all images you made. The old will fall away before the new without your opposition or intent. There will be no attack upon the things you thought were precious and in need of care. There will be no assault upon your wish to hear a call that never has been made. Nothing will hurt you in this holy place, to which you come to listen silently and learn the truth of what you really want. No more than this will you be asked to learn. But as you hear it, you will understand you need but come away without the thoughts you did not want, and that were never true. Forgive your brother all appearances that are but ancient lessons you have taught yourself about the sinfulness in you. Hear but his call for mercy and release from all the fearful images he holds of what he is and what you must be. He is afraid to walk with you and thinks perhaps a bit behind. A bit ahead would be a safer place for him to be. Can you make progress if you think the same, advancing only when he would step back and falling back when he would go ahead? For so do you forget the journey's goal, which is but to decide to walk with him, so neither leads nor follows. Thus it is a way you go together, not alone. And in this choice is learning's outcome changed, for Christ has been reborn to both of you. An instant spent without your old ideas of who your great companion is and what he should be asking for will be enough to let this happen, and you will perceive his purpose is the same as yours. He asks for what you want and needs the same as you. It takes, perhaps, a different form in him, but it is not the form you answer to. He asks and you receive, for you have come with but one purpose, that you learn you love your brother with a brother's love. And as a brother, must his father be the same as yours, as he is like yourself in truth. Together is your joint inheritance remembered and accepted by you both. Alone it is denied to both of you. Is it not clear that while you still insist on leading or on following, you think you walk alone with no one by your side? This is the road to nowhere, for the light cannot be given while you walk alone, and so you cannot see which way to go, and thus there is confusion and a sense of endless doubting as you stagger back and forward in the darkness and alone. Yet these are but appearances of what the journey is and how it must be made. For next to you is one who holds the light before you, so that every step is made in certainty and sureness of the road. A blindfold can indeed obscure your sight, but cannot make the way itself grow dark. And he who travels with you has the light. And once again, all of our conversations are answered. I love that.
Wow.
Anybody want to share what's coming up for them?
What we were talking about.
How much of what we learn comes from the people we're with.
Yeah.
Even our enemies, quote unquote, our enemies.
Especially our enemies.
Especially because they're the ones we need to walk side by side with.
And forgive and love them. That's because that's what all they're really asking for.
Truth bumps.
Mm.
Yeah. I love that it says, the answer that I give my brother is what I am asking for. And what I learn of him is what I learn about myself.
Mm-hmm. And
So
that happens through our emotions.
All the judgment we give is what we give ourselves.
It's about reminders, right? Because we forget. I mean, just forget, or somehow refuse to accept.
And, what we surround ourselves with, right, to support our environment, to optimize our environment, affects how we forget or how we remember, right? If we are constantly surrounding ourselves with negative information or gossip or judgment conversations or whatever, right? It's easier to forget because that's all we're listening to. But when we do the inside work and connect with the one mind of love, and we take time to consciously do the lessons and experience them and watch our thoughts and pause and choose another thought instead, then it makes it a little more likely that we won't forget so often.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, any other thoughts before we continue? Okay, let's keep going. The self-accused. Here we go.
What a lie, guy.
Only the self-accused condemn. As you prepare to make a choice that will result in different outcomes, there is first one thing that must be overlearned. It must become a habit of response, so typical of everything you do that it becomes your first response to all temptation and to every situation that occurs. Learn this and learn it well. For it is here delay of happiness is shortened by a span of time you cannot realize. You never hate your brother for his sins, but only for your own. Whatever form his sins appear to take, it but obscures the fact that you believe them to be yours, and therefore meriting a just attack. Why should his sins be sins? If you did not believe, they could not be forgiven in you. Why are they real in him? If you did not believe that they are your reality? And why do you attack them everywhere except you hate yourself? Are you a sin? You answer yes whenever you attack. For by attack do you assert that you are guilty and must give as you deserve. And what can you deserve but what you are? If you did not believe that you deserved attack, it never would occur to you to give attack to anyone at all. Why should you? What would be the gain to it? What could the outcome be that you would want? And how could murder bring you benefit? Sins are in bodies. They're not perceived in minds. They're not seen as purposes, but actions. Bodies act, and minds do not. And therefore must the body be at fault for what it does. It is not seen to be a passive thing, obeying your commands and doing nothing of itself at all. If you are sin, you are a body, for the mind acts not. And purpose must be in the body, not the mind. The body must act on its own and motivate itself. If you are sin, you lock the mind within the body and you give its purpose to its prison house, which acts instead of it. A jailer does not follow orders, but enforces orders on the prisoner. Yet, is the body prisoner and not the mind? The body thinks no thoughts. It has no power to learn, to pardon, nor enslave. It gives no orders that the mind need serve, nor sets conditions that it must obey. It holds in prison, but the willing mind that would abide in it. It sickens at the bidding of the mind that would become its prisoner, and it grows old and dies, because that mind is sick within itself. Learning is all that causes change, and so the body, where no learning can occur, could never change, unless the mind preferred the body change in its appearances to suit the purpose given by the mind. For mind can learn, and there is all change made. The mind that thinks it is a sin has but one purpose, that the body be the source of sin, to keep it in the prison house it chose, and guards and holds itself at bay, a sleeping prisoner to the snarling dogs of hate and evil, sickness and attack, of pain and age, of grief and suffering. Here are the thoughts of sacrifice preserved, for here guilt rules and orders that the world be like itself, a place where nothing can find mercy, nor survive the ravages of fear, except in murder and in death. For here are you made sin, and sin cannot abide the joyous and the free, for they are enemies which sin must kill. In death is sin preserved, and those who think that they are sin must die for what they think they are. Let us be glad that you will see what you believe, and that it has been given you to change what you believe. The body will but follow. It can never lead you where you would not be. It does not guard your sleep nor interfere with your awakening. Release your body from imprisonment, and you will see no one as prisoner to what you have escaped. You will not want to hold in guilt your chosen enemies, nor keep in chains to the illusion of a changing love the ones you think are friends. The innocent release in gratitude for their release, and what they see upholds their freedom from imprisonment and death. Open your mind to change, and there will be no ancient penalty exacted from your brother or yourself. For God has said there is no sacrifice that can be asked. There is no sacrifice that can be made. There we go again. You see a brother is guilty, it's because you're not forgiving yourself.
Again.
Again. And that just reminded me of that Ho'oponopono prayer and just how powerful that is. I would encourage you to do that with someone and just do it with someone that you're not even holding any kind of grievance against in your mind. And just tell them, please forgive me. What is it? Please forgive me.
I think it's I'm sorry first.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.
I love you.
Yeah.
And then thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so powerful.
It's so hard to remember.
Why is it so hard to remember? It's such an easy thing to say.
The words we interchange the word, but there is a sequence.
Oh, yeah, I think it's I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I think that's the sequence. I could look it
Well,
up.
so I read it in this wheel that has it. So I guess you could start it anywhere and end anything
Oh,
with it.
that's interesting.
Right.
Yeah. All right, any conversations about that? It's kind of a tough nut to swallow, right? When you think about a grievance you're holding against someone, you're like, but that person's a bad person. Why do I have to think he's not a bad person for the things he did? Why do I have to forgive myself? Right?
Mhm.
There's the work.
Well, I mean, I think that, I don't, you don't have to hang out with them, I guess.
That's true.
I mean, it's like, okay, you sure you go through all of that, but you don't have to be there. I mean,
Eventually you will.
Yeah, but
Well-
think about this. You don't have to hang out with him, but who's him? His body,
yeah,
right?
hmm
And his body isn't him in reality. It's the sin, right, that we've projected onto him through his body and made his body real. Or her body.
Yeah, or her body, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a tough one, it is. Yep.
Now, what is that? The prayers, I'm sorry, I forgive you,
Please forgive me.
please forgive me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And I guess if you do that, technically you're forgiving yourself, right? Because if you're offering forgiveness to someone, then you're offering forgiveness to yourself.
Yes, and
Ooh,
ultimately there's no need for forgiveness, period. That's only in duality.
right, sure. But think about how powerful that would be if you walked up to someone that you're holding a grievance against and said those words. Just imagine that for a minute. Someone you think has done something wrong, and you say, please forgive me.
Have to get by a Secret Service people first.
That's great.
Well, or you could also say that to somebody who hasn't forgiven you, and you really don't have any grudge against them.
Right.
You could do that
Mhm.
also in that respect.
Sure, sure.
Because
Mhm.
it's a two-way street thing, instead of trying to figure out why it is they hate you so much when you feel you haven't done anything wrong. Obviously something's up.
Well, we just read why they hate you so much because there's something inside of them that they're projecting onto you that they haven't forgiven themselves for.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Shall we keep going or shall we continue to discuss this and whatever anybody wants to do?
This is a horse we can never stop beating up. Until we get it.
That's right. That's right.
Oh my God. So
Okay.
hard. Anyway.
Oh, go ahead, Ernesto. I didn't know
No,
if you're.
no. This just it just leaves my mind is convoluted, as they say. It just sometimes the chaos in the mind is just one of those things that you got to let it straighten itself out.
Let it go.
Let it
Or
go. Right.
or
Let it
just
go.
give it to the Holy Spirit,
Yeah.
right? When there's any question, but especially when there's chaos, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that's a practice.
Yep.
Okay, let's go to the real alternative. Maybe we'll get some real good answers here.
Yeah. Some tools.
That's
I-
right.
Jen,
Oh, hold on, let me unshare. Go ahead, Marie.
I think is it Terry that had said there's no forgiveness, only in duality? I didn't even know that. I'm just still like, wow, I'm still taken back by that and really sitting with that. And so like something like the Honoiona prayer, whatever it's called, do we even need to tell ourselves to forgive themselves and to forgive others if it's actually like, is that just like feeding into the illusion, thinking that we need to forgive them and forgive ourselves?
I'm going to let Mary
Can
answer
I
that. She brought that up.
Yep. In the beginning, since we are of a consciousness of duality, it helps to think of forgiveness because that is sort of the permission slip or the opening for joining, for oneness. If we can see even that we may have possibly acted in that fashion at another time in our lives, even if it's not identical, but we can see a hint of who we are or might have been in a certain circumstance, then we can embrace the other and allow for a joining. That's kind of what forgiveness does. Ultimately, forgiveness, though, is a judgment of someone or even ourselves needing to be forgiven, because in ultimate truth, we are whole and we are just being the present experiences. Therefore, there is no need for any kind of forgiveness. And we already know that we are joined and collectively unified. Therefore, again, there's no need for forgiveness. Forgiveness is just kind of a melding or an allowing of things to be as they are.
I would also say that in this world of illusion and duality, A Course in Miracles says you can change it from this dream of death and suffering to a happy dream. And that's kind of a progression into taking that final step that God takes, right? So if we can get to that place of forgiveness and understand that our only function is happiness, then we can be more prepared for that final step that God will take, of course, according to A Course in Miracles. So yeah, we can live in the duality and we can embrace our anger and our fear and have all these thoughts. We have free will, we have our choice. But the question is, would you rather be right or happy, right? Would you rather be right and justified in your anger? Or would you rather be happy and practice seeing your brother as yourself and seeing the Christ in your brother and creating that heaven on earth, so to speak, so that you can perceive things differently and not always be in that alignment with fear?
Right, because when you're happy, you're not feeling that angst, that anger, that vengeance, that hate.
Right.
I'm
It's like it's love or fear, always the choice.
It's interesting. I'm on lesson 57, and the last one is like a review, and it's
Mhm.
my mind is part of God's. I'm very holy, and it's like I look upon the world I look upon has taken up the light of my forgiveness and shines forgiveness back at me. So it's through it I think, right, change our whole experience. Like
Mhm.
so, whatever how we treat ourselves, how we see ourselves, is the world we create. So that's the bottom line, and forgiveness is like this relief. Like um. Anyway, that was my lesson for today. It all
That's awesome.
coincides.
It's
Yeah.
it's a practice of a ritual.
Yeah.
You want to look at it somehow. It's ritualistic. It's the ritual of going through it. The reminder.
I've seen it active, like, I've been using it a lot. I mean, it's all really new to me, but like the forgiveness going within when I'm having any type of tension, even like in the middle of my daughter like was kind of was upset with me, and I just started doing it, and within minutes, and the whole energy changed. It's that fast. It's immediate. And then and then I feel better. She feels better. It's just like it's unwinding or unknotting, untangling, undoing all that tension and it's my own self-judgment in which she was reflecting back. So by forgiving myself for whatever it is that she was pointing out in me, that's the undoing, right?
Absolutely. Well said.
Okay.
Well said. Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts? Shares? Questions? All right, let's keep going. The real alternative. There is a tendency to think the world can offer consolation and escape from problems that its purpose is to keep. Why should this be? Because it is a place where choice among illusions seems to be the only choice. And you are in control of outcomes of your choosing. Thus, you think, within the narrow band from birth to death, a little time is given you to use for you alone, a time when everyone conflicts with you. But you can choose which road will lead you out of conflict and away from difficulties that concern you not. Yet, they are your concern. How then can you escape from them by leaving them behind? What must go with you? You will take with you whatever road you choose to walk along. Real choice is no illusion, but the world has none to offer. All its roads but lead to disappointment, nothingness, and death. There is no choice in its alternatives. Seek not escape from problems here. The world was made that problems could not be escaped. Be not deceived by all the different names its roads are given. They have but one end, and each is but the means to gain that end. For it is here that all its roads will lead, however differently they seem to start, however differently they seem to go. Their end is certain, for there is no choice among them. All of them will lead to death. On some you travel gaily for a while, before the bleakness enters, and on some the thorns are felt at once. The choice is not what will the ending be, but when it comes. There is no choice where every end is sure. Perhaps you would prefer to try them all before you really learn they are but one. The roads this world can offer seem to be quite large in number, but the time must come when everyone begins to see how like they are to one another. Men have died on seeing this, because they saw no way except the pathways offered by the world, and learning they led nowhere, lost their hope. And yet, this was the time they could have learned their greatest lesson. All must reach this point and go beyond it. It is true indeed, there is no choice at all within the world. But this is not the lesson in itself. The lesson has a purpose, and in this you come to understand what it is for. Why would you seek to try another road, another person, or another place, when you have learned the way the lesson starts, but do not yet perceive what it is for? Its purpose is the answer to the search that all must undertake who still believe there is another answer to be found. Learn now without despair. There is no hope of answer in the world. But do not judge the lesson that is but begun with this. Seek not another signpost in the world that seems to point to still another road. No longer look for hope where there is none. Make fast your learning now and understand you but waste time unless you go beyond what you have learned to what is yet to learn. For from this lowest point will learning lead to heights of happiness, in which you see the purpose of the lesson shining clear and perfectly within your learning grasp. Who would be willing to be turned away from all the roadways of the world unless he understood their real futility? Is it not needful that he should begin with this, to seek another way instead? For while he sees a choice where there is none, what power of decision can he use? The great release of power must begin with learning where it really has a use. And what decision has power if it be applied in situations without choice? The learning that the world can offer but one choice, no matter what its form may be, is the beginning of acceptance that there is a real alternative instead. To fight against this step is to defeat your purpose here. You did not come to learn to find a road the world does not contain. The search for different pathways in the world is but the search for different forms of truth. And this would keep the truth from being reached. Think not that happiness is ever found by following a road away from it. This makes no sense and cannot be the way. To you who seem to find this course to be too difficult to learn, let me repeat that to achieve a goal, you must proceed in its direction, not away from it. And every road that leads the other way will not advance the purpose to be found. If this be difficult to understand, then is this course impossible to learn. But only then, for otherwise, it is a simple teaching in the obvious. There is a choice that you have power to make when you have seen the real alternatives. Until that point is reached, you have no choice. And you can but decide how you would choose the better to deceive yourself again. This course attempts to teach no more than that the power of decision cannot lie in choosing different forms of what is still the same illusion and the same mistake. All choices in the world depend on this. You choose between your brother and yourself, and you will gain as much as he will lose. And what you lose is what is given him. How utterly opposed to truth is this, when all the lesson's purpose is to teach that what your brother loses, you have lost, and what he gains is what is given you. He has not left his thoughts, but you forgot his presence and remembered not his love. No pathway in the world can lead to him, nor any worldly goal be won with his. What road in all the world will lead within, when every road was made to separate the journey from the purpose it must have, unless it be but futile wandering? All roads that lead away from what you are will lead you to confusion and despair. Yet has he never left his thoughts to die, without their source forever in themselves. He has not left his thoughts. He could no more depart from them than they could keep him out. In unity with him do they abide, and in their oneness both are kept complete. There is no road that leads away from him. A journey from yourself does not exist. How foolish and insane it is to think that there could be a road with such an aim. Where could it go? And how could you be made to travel on it, walking there without your own reality at one with you? Forgive yourself your madness and forget all senseless journeys and all goal-less aims. They have no meaning. You cannot escape from what you are. For God is merciful and did not let his Son abandon him. For what he is, be thankful, for in that is your escape from madness and from death. Nowhere but where he is can you be found. There is no path that does not lead to him. That's so good. I remember when I first learned that, and I know I shared this with you guys so many times. I had already been doing A Course in Miracles for 15 years and practicing all the practicing and being love and doing all the forgiveness, but still, I was still searching for happiness out there, still sure that if I did all the right things, somehow I would find happiness in the right relationship, the right job, the right circumstance. It was out there somewhere. But until I was willing to let go of all of it, until I got to that point where I realized there was nothing out there. And I remember, oh my gosh, I was so pissed. I was so mad. I was mad at God. And I said, how dare you make me feel like I could find my happiness someday? And it's all a big lie. This whole thing is a big illusion. And I was so angry. And I remember just saying, I am just not interested anymore. I'm not interested in being part of this illusion. And I just went into this really deep, dark hole of self-loathing. I mean, I was just like the victim of my circumstances. I was angry. I was just done with all of it. But I had 2 kids. So I had to get up every day. I had to get in the shower every day. And gosh, I went down this hole for about 6 months, and it was hard. I got very depressed. I felt like those heavy chains were on me every morning, just trying to get out of bed. I was still doing A Course in Miracles though, still showing up. I remember going to the doctors going, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm tired. Doctor was like, yeah, all your vitals are good. You seem fine to me. Like, I'm just really exhausted. No, doctor didn't have anything to say to me. And it wasn't until I got to a point where I thought I was having a heart attack. And I called a friend and I said, I don't know what's happening to me, but I need you to take care of my kids. And that friend of mine got on the phone. He said, I want you to put the phone up to your ear for a minute. I'm going to put the phone down. And he sang me this song. And it was such a beautiful reminder of the love inside of myself. And my friend said to me, I see your spark. I see you. So my friend was seeing the Christ in me, and I had forgotten, or maybe I never saw it. Maybe not since I was a young child. And in that moment, I felt this ember of warmth in my chest. And I remember thinking, what is that? It was the first time I'd actually felt hope in months. And I started looking at the world in a completely different way. And all of a sudden, I didn't see how the world had done me wrong. I was no longer a victim of the world I saw. Now I was in this place of how can I be of service? How can I grow this love inside of myself and share it with my brother? And how can I actually stay on that path to knowing myself? And boy, I'll tell you, that made all the difference in my experience. So that's what came up for me when I read this. Anybody else have anything they want to share or add or?
That was very moving, Terry. Thank you for that vulnerability. I could feel that through the screen.
You're welcome, Marie. It's such a difference when it's like a light switch goes off when you stop looking out there for your happiness and you start that road within, right? All the pathways out here, all the roads, they are all the same and they all lead to the same place. There's different faces and different circumstances and, you know, different situations, but the outcome is all the same. It's all the same.
And the awesome thing about that is that you're not looking to be satisfied from the outside, which is so inconsistent. So one thing might make you feel satisfied, the other thing makes you feel in lack because you're unstable. But having that faith and joining gives you the safety and therefore the stability and therefore the contentment. It all unfolds into and out from there. So you don't need that input from anything else. You have it within, and all you have to do is just, you know, reconnect with that or know that you've never really lost any connection with that. And so you go about your life in a much more settled, if you will, peaceful state of being, and therefore you can be fully present to everyone and everything in your outer experiences because you're not holding your breath dependent on them for your survival.
Well said, Mary. And that is so true. Even my conversations changed, right? Before my conversations were like, let me tell you about me. Let me tell you about my life. And then when I went through that experience, I was like, oh, I know who I am. And then I would go out and I'd be like, tell me about yourself. You know, and all of a sudden the focus was like, how can I be of service? How can I share my light and my love? Because in sharing that, my light just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's not like you're no longer in relationship, right? Now your relationships with people aren't about what can you give me? What kind of happiness can you give me? Now your relation is how can I share my light with you? And how can I reflect your light back to yourself? And then whatever you share, you strengthen, right? So the light just gets bigger and brighter and stronger. And it's a beautiful way to be. Right. Do we have, yeah, we have time for one more. Should we read one more? Let's go. One more. Okay.
Ooh.
I think we have, oh, this is kind of a long one. I don't know if we have time for this one.
That is long.
Yeah, for some reason I was on to the next one already. So we will stop here and just have conversation for the next 10 minutes, if that sounds good with everyone.
Yeah, that
Adam?
part about looking inward
Mm-hmm.
for our own satisfaction. There's really no blueprint with that.
Except this one.
Well, I
I
mean, yeah, well, because looking inward is not something that we have been taught, or I don't even know what the expression to say with this is.
Yeah, it's not part of our early conditioning, for sure.
Right, not part of our condition, our domestication. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in looking for a blueprint itself, you're still looking outside yourself. You were created out of that true blueprint. You know it innately, instinctively. Your intuition, your inner knowing does know.
Mhm.
So when you're not looking for any blueprint outside yourself and go within, you will be guided to that place. But
Yeah.
it's a matter of changing that whole perception to what was I taught and think I know in knowledge, or what do I truly deeply know, and how do I respond to that?
That's a good point that you brought up, because I remember when I first received this book from Scott Prather and he was telling me about it, I was like, oh, that sounds awful. I don't want to read about God and the Holy Spirit. That sounds like something I would not be interested at all in. But when I got the book and started thumbing through it and finally landed on the manual for teachers and I started reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, this resonates with the truth inside of me. So just like what you were saying, Mary, is this book found me. Clearly, I did not go out looking for it. It was like, you have to have this book. Like it came to my house. And I didn't even want to read it at first because of what I had because my words were symbols of symbols, right? And those symbols of God and Holy Spirit in my mind were not anything I was interested in. But when I started reading it, I felt the truth within me agreeing, like, oh my gosh, this is the truth. I am reading the truth for the first time ever in any spiritual manuscript like this anyway. I mean, I've picked up other spiritual books on spirituality, which resonated with the truth, but nothing that felt like a manual to guide me to the truth like this. Or to reconnect, I should say, not guide me to it, to reconnect to it. Because somewhere in my domestication process, I clearly forgot about it.
I haven't gone through the workbook yet, but would the workbook exercises that you do every day, would that kind of be considered a blueprint on how to go in and disconnect with ego and connect with the self or Jesus, or I'm not sure what we're connecting with inside God?
Yes.
I guess it would be the inner knowing.
Yes.
Something like that, right? Something like that.
To the one mind, right? To the one mind of God, right? So yes, and of Course in Miracles recommends that you do the lessons in conjunction with reading the text. And when you start reading the lessons, there's really good explanation and description of how they're to be done. You should do, not should, but if you're going to do the lessons, it's okay to do one lesson a day, but they say don't do more than one lesson a day. But it's also okay to do one lesson for more than one day. Does that make sense? They want you to stick with one lesson at a time. They don't want you to cram like 5 lessons in one day, because that's where you get the experience. The lessons are meant to bring the teaching into the world that you're experiencing. And it'll help you to understand how A Course in Miracles can be applied. And it is a big undoing. Sometimes I refer to it as like an onion. And as you're doing the lessons, you're like peeling away the layers of the onion until you get to the very middle.
It's kind of like it's kind of like phases though. It's like the first half of the year, it's all peeling away, and the last half of the year is kind of like putting things back into place.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah,
It's
like,
after doing it a couple times, I go, wait a minute, this is the same thing we learned about in the beginning, but we were getting rid of it, and now we're putting it back in but I went back and looked, and it's a totally different way of putting it back in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like wiping your hard drive and then installing new programming.
Mhm. Exactly. Wouldn't it be amazing if this was if this kind of programming was part of learning when we were young? Yeah, it's like if we started teaching our kids basics of this when between 1 and 5 before they went to school, and then they had things like this in schools.
Be amazing. Yeah. I think I tried to do that with my children. Jury's still out.
I tried with mine too, and the jury's definitely out.
Remember about that word trying.
Yeah. That's
Such our
right.
paradoxes, right?
Yeah.
Right? You're either doing or not doing.
I mean, I was doing.
Yeah, but the reception is the part that's
I think we're on the wrong channels. Uh,
Yeah, remember, our children are not our children.
that's right.
We're
I
theirs.
recite that often, trust me.
I have a question. What do you
Yes.
think when it mentions the text and stuff, it mentions our creations? And are those like our thoughts? Like our creations are protected. God protects our creations.
Right. Thoughts that are aligned with love are our creations.
Or someone actually creating anything, like we're not creating a world, or we're not creating a flower, we're not creating like some physical thing. It's like it's just like we're creating a thought of love.
I'll read it to you from the glossary of terms because I don't want to misquote what A Course in Miracles is teaching. So creation is the extension of God's being or spirit, referred to as the cause, that resulted in his son, the effect. Described as the first coming of Christ, it is the son's function in heaven to create, as it was God's in creating him. Note that it exists only at the level of knowledge and is not equivalent to creation or creativity, as these terms are used in the world of perception. So let's take a look at creation. And creation says the extensions of our spirit, the effects of our creating. Analogous to the creation when God created his son by extending himself as extensions of Christ. Our creations are part of the second person of the Trinity. Creation is ongoing in heaven, beyond time and space, and independent of the son's lack of awareness of it in this world. So that's clear as mud.
I didn't understand the thing about that, and maybe I'm just at the beginner level, but that went way over my head. You know,
I think go ahead.
God is the creator, or source is the creator of universes without end. And so you learn that God creates everything. But if it's all an illusion, then he's actually creating nothing. So then it leaves like, what is he creating if the trees and the flowers and the people in the world are all just a dream? The animals, those are all just illusion dreams. And so it's like, well, they say he's creating those things, but then in the Course it's saying, no, he's not creating those things. So yeah, I'm still confused on what he's creating and what we're creating.
Well, there's the clarification is it's our perception of those things that is the illusion. And we tend to say that the world is an illusion. It's the world that as we have perceived it that is an illusion. the truth of the flower or the, dog or whatever, their spirit is still true, but we don't really experience that because our perception has them as separate and therefore in duality. So it's the separation of the world that is the misperception and is the illusion.
Yeah, and if I can share one more thing, the mind of God, also in this clarification or glossary, the mind of God is equated with the creative function of God, which represents the activating agent of spirit, supplying its creative energy. As an extension of God, the mind of Christ, or God's thought, shares in the attributes of the mind of God, one-mindedness. After the separation, the mind of Christ appeared to be split in two, mind with a capital M and mind with a lowercase m.
Yeah, I think that for me, speaking just for myself, I think that kind of conversation is for a little bit more advanced or at least intermediate level students. Definitely not beginners like me, because that's like I'm having a real struggle following all of that. Thank you.
Totally. And what I would say is it's just like with the lessons. And if you start doing the lessons, I think you're going to equally find some that are easy to understand and some that are like, I don't get this at all. But what A Course in Miracles says is some of the things that you're going to hear or read, you can say, oh yeah, that makes sense. Other things you're going to say, that doesn't make any sense at all. And even other things you're going to say, I don't agree with that at all. And A Course in Miracles says none of that even matters. Just reading it and doing the lessons will take you on the path to knowing and to understanding. So you're exactly right, Marie. There's some of this stuff that you're not going to understand. There's some of the stuff I still don't understand. But it's getting clearer and clearer and clearer every time I read it. And every time I experience it within this illusion, I'm like, oh, okay, I get that. Now I understand what that means. Like when I had that experience of having to let go of looking for my happiness out here. Then all of a sudden, so much of the Course in Miracles that I had been doing for 15 years, all of a sudden it was like, now I get it. Now I understand. But until I went through that experience, I couldn't take the knowledge and the experience and have the wisdom until I had both the knowledge and the experience.
Yep. Like for me right now, it's that part about, looking for that paradigm or that blueprint of looking inward. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for the longest time, I think you mentioned this when I remember reading that all attack is a call for love. I didn't realize that thing until I was sick from seasick or something, seasick. And I couldn't figure it. And then all of a sudden I kept reverberating in my mind and I finally got it. And I was somewhere else completely when that came to me. But things will come that are, you keep repeating it in your head, some mantras or something. And that's what the lessons are about.
Yeah.
Repetition. That's
And asking the Holy Spirit, right? That's the other thing we never do. We forget. Like it's easy.
right.
Just ask, right? We try to figure it out with our ego mind, and our ego does not have the answers.
Nope. It's that book mentions, that our ego is associated with our logical mind. And
Right.
the
We have
logical
to let
mind
go.
is not reliable. The logical mind is not, just like the ego, is not reliable.
Right.
It's not a reliable source.
Yeah. Let go, let God. There's a lot of truth in that. All right. Any other burning shares before we close for today, since we're already at 1:34?
Oh, we went over.
Thank you, everyone. This is always a pleasure. Love to have all of you here. And I'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. See you next week.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye,
Thanks.
everyone.
Ciao.
Bye.